hieroglyphics, as well as in temple decorations, such as those at the Temple of Amun at Karnak. Packed with a natural psychoactive alkaloid, the blue lotus had some serious chill-out powers. The Egyptians soaked it in wine for weeks to create a drink that was both relaxing and euphoric, possibly even a little hallucinatory. In other words, if you were sipping on lotus-infused wine, you were in for a good time. The lotus-infused wine was used in ceremonies and religious rituals, helping believers reach deeper states of consciousness and communicate with the divine. It was also a go-to aphrodisiac, meaning it probably played a role in more than just spiritual awakenings. The blue lotus could also be brewed into tea or ingested, because in ancient Egypt there were plenty of ways to get a little enlightened. The blue lotus was so popular it even made it into literature. In the Odyssey, the 8th or 9th century epic Greek poem written by Homer, the hero Odysseus's boat washes up on the island of lotus eaters. The residents of the island entice Odysseus and his crew to eat a blue flower, which induces lethargy and makes Odysseus want to abandon his quest. Some researchers have argued, although fictional, this may be a reference to the lotus drug culture of ancient Egypt. The blue lotus is also mentioned in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, a funerary text written on papyrus. This collection of rites and magic spells was intended to guide the dead through the underworld and into the afterlife. Number 7. Mandrake. Mandrake was one of ancient Egypt's most intriguing plants, part medicine, part mystery.
So he said you give blue lotus to, the dead homies so they can have a little help finding their way through. Because, in case they don't want to be wandering spirits forever, you go ahead and get that spirit elevated so they can make it through the coping with the fact that they gone. So, shit, let's move on. Hell, shout out to reincarnation with the brain of teacher, whole nation. Yay. Shout out to Looney Coleon. I'm going to have to listen to that song after this. But that's another story, Shout out to being able to do a review on it, because I'll probably just do that next. Shout out to doing the reviews over on Spider Pig, because I can post whatever I want. You dig? We monetize content on YouTube. As long as they let it be on their platform, we gonna get some money from somebody. You dig? Because there's gonna be supporters. There's gonna be haters, but there's gonna be supporters. Hell, and we gonna see which one outweighs which in my story. Hell, we was built to win. Shout out to winning. Make y'all
and
listen
possibly
now.
Party trick. With thick roots that sometimes looked like tiny human figures, it had an eerie reputation. But instead of running away screaming, the Egyptians put it to good use. The leaves and the roots contained deliriant hallucinogenic tropane alkaloids, which would send users into an altered state of consciousness. But that's not all it did. The Egyptians considered it an erotic plant, and the elite would grow it in their gardens. Nothing says luxury like an hallucinogenic aphrodisiac in your backyard. Mandrake's healing properties are mentioned in the Ebers Papyrus, an ancient Egyptian medical text on herbal knowledge and folk remedies dating around 1550 BCE. Pieces of mandrake root were also used as good luck charms. People wore them around their necks, hoping for good fortune and health. Mandrake's reputation as an aphrodisiac meant it played a role in fertility treatments for women, with the leaves and berries brewed into tea. Before medical procedures, patients would often drink mandrake-infused wine as a painkiller and anesthetic. However, using mandrake as a medicine came with some risks. It had strong purgative and narcotic side effects. Number 6. Saffron. The ancient Egyptians found a lot of uses for saffron. It was used as a seasoning, a dye, medicine, and relaxant. Saffron comes from the dried bright orange-red inner stigmas of the crocus flower, and because of this, harvesting it is extremely labor-intensive. As a result, saffron was extremely expensive and generally reserved for royalty and the elite, who could afford it. Even today, saffron remains a pricey spice. The ancient Egyptians didn't just use saffron to spice up their food, they used it to spice up their moods too. Some ancient texts describe using saffron as a painkiller and as part of treatments for depression. Consuming more than 0.18 ounces of the stigmas was believed to produce an opioid-like effect. It might not seem like a lot, but this spice packed a serious punch. For Egypt's wealthiest citizens, saffron wasn't just a luxury. It became a habit. Those who could afford to splurge on it regularly were rumored to develop a chemical dependency, making them some of history's first high rollers, literally. Egyptian healers also used saffron primarily to treat gastrointestinal ailments. For internal hemorrhaging, one treatment involved crushing saffron crocus seeds with agar wood bark, oxfat, coriander, and myrrh. This paste was applied externally to the body, as it was thought to help the patient expel bad blood through the mouth or rectum.